Okay, in this lesson, we're going to be working with multiplying and dividing of fractions. The nice thing about multiplying and dividing is that they kind of share one method that is the same. So for multiplying fractions, I always say to myself, those are my favorite because they're the most basic steps. So when you multiply fractions, you get to just multiply straight across. So like here I have 3/5 times 7/8. I'm just going to multiply straight across between the numbers. So here I would get 3 times 7 is 21 over 5 times 8 is 40. And then if I can reduce after that, I can go through and reduce. Okay. Multiplying fractions is where you can also cross cancel for those people that prefer to cross cancel. I'm not going to go through that in this lesson today. We're just going to try and work with multiplying and getting the steps down of multiplication today. Okay. Division. My visual cue on division, so like here if I had 3/5 divided by 7/8, the visual cue that I use to remind myself and my students, what do I need to do here, is when I circle this division sign, there's actually 3 parts to that make up that division sign. So that tells me that there's that 3-part saying that we go through and we discuss, and that's we keep, we change, and we flip. So we keep the first fraction of 3/5. We change our symbol to multiplying, and we flip our last fraction. So this now becomes 8/7. Now it's set up very similar to what we did there, where we get to multiply now straight across. So we get to go straight across when we multiply. So 3 times 8 is 24 over 5 times 7 is 35. Our only other step would be if we needed to go through and reduce, but in this case, there's not a number that would go into both of those. So that's working with multiplying and dividing. Multiplying is the most basic. Dividing, there's that 3-part to that division sign that's going to remind us, hey, we have to do those 3 steps first, and then we can go ahead and multiply, which is the most basic. So we're going to practice some of those. If I can get to my other thing here. Okay, so my first fraction I have is 3/4, and let's do times, let's do 1/8. Okay, so the most common made mistake in these is kids think that they have to do a common denominator. Okay, there's not too many people that like to do the common denominator, so I just always remember when it's multiplying, that's my favorite because it's the most basic. I don't have to do a whole bunch of steps. I get to multiply straight across. So when I multiply straight across here, I get 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 8 is 32. That's my final answer. So my answer to 3/4 times 1/8 is 3/32. Okay, so let's go through and try that with another set of fractions. Let's keep the 1/8. Let's do 1/8 times maybe 4/7. Okay, so we'll spit that out. And we're going to go ahead and multiply again. Okay, so remember, multiplying is my favorite because it's the most basic. So if we multiply straight across on both of these, so 1 times 4 is 4. 8 times 7 is 56. And we're finished. 4/56. No, we're not. We can actually reduce that one. How do I know that? Those of you that like to cross cancel, maybe you could see it between these 2 numbers. Those of you that aren't comfortable with cross canceling, when I look at the fraction answer, I'm noticing both are even. So that tells me right away, oh, for sure 2 will go into them. There is a bigger number, but some people might not be able to see that. So maybe you always start with that dividing by 2/2. Okay, 4 divided by 2 would give me 2. 56 divided by 2 is going to give me 28. Now I'm noticing, once again, these are both divisible by 2 because they're both even numbers. So if I divide by 2/2 again, I would get now 1/14. I'm done. Now, somebody that likes to cross cancel, because this would be a great opportunity for me to kind of show you what cross canceling is for those of you maybe that just need that reminder. If I look at these and I compare a top number to a bottom number, of course I have to be comfortable with what they have in common and finding that common multiple. So here, when I look at these, I'm seeing that 4 would go into both of these numbers. So 4 would go into itself once, and 4 would go into 8 twice. Now when I go through and I multiply straight across, 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 7 is 14. See how I end up with the same answer? But I didn't have to do all of this reduction. So that's where cross-canceling is a benefit. I like it. I just wasn't going to go into it in great detail right now. That's kind of something that we can practice later on once you get comfortable with the steps of fractions. Okay, so let's do a couple division ones. So this time I'm actually just going to take and flip these around just because I know 4/7 is bigger. So I want to divide my bigger number by my smaller number. So this time I'm going to throw my little division sign in the middle. Okay, so my division sign, there's 3 parts to that. So that's telling me, oh yeah, I have to do that 3-step process. So I'm going to keep 4/7. I'm going to change to multiplying, and I'm going to flip the last fraction. So it becomes 8/1. Now that it's in multiplication, if I could see a cross canceling, I could use it. I cannot cross cancel when it's in the division setup because I have to go through the process of changing it to multiplying before I can cross cancel. I'm not noticing any numbers that 8 and 7 and 1 or 4 and 7 and 1 have in common. So I'm just going to multiply straight across because remember, multiplying is the most basic. So 4 times 8 is 32. Over 1, 7 times 1 is 7. So 32/7, that would change into, let's see, 7 would go into 32 4 times, which puts me at 28. And then I would have 4 more to get to 32 and then still over 7. So 32/7 or 4 and 4/7 is what I get for 4/7 divided by 1/8. Okay, so let's try another one. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do 8/9 divided by 4/7. Okay, so that division sign is that visual cue for me. There's 3 parts of it. I have to do that 3-step process. So I'm going to keep 8/9. I'm going to change to multiplying, and I'm going to flip. So I have to flip this one to 7/4. Now that I'm in this standpoint, now I can go through, now that it's multiplying, and if I see a cross canceling, I can use that. If not, I can multiply straight across, but I'm seeing a cross canceling that I can do because I'm noticing here that 4 and 8, either 2 would go into both of them, or I can see a bigger number that 4 would really go into both of these. So 4 would go into itself once, and 4 would go into 8 twice. Now I'm going to multiply straight across because I don't see 9 and 7 having anything in common. So 2 times 7 is 14. Over 7 times 4 is, not 7, my goodness. 9 times 1 is 9. So I get 14/9, which changes into 1 and 5/9. So either of these would be a correct answer, okay, depending on what format we need to leave it in. So I get 14/9 or 1 and 5/9. So let's do one more of these. Okay, so let's do 8/9 divided by 1/2. Okay, so 8/9, keep, change, flip, 3 parts. 8/9 we keep, we change to multiplying, and we flip the 1/2 to 2/1. Okay, so I'm looking to see, can I cross cancel? 2 won't go into 9, 8 won't go into 9. They don't have anything in common. So, and 1 goes into everything. So we're gonna go ahead and just multiply straight across now, because I can't cross cancel. So 8 times 2 gives me 16. 9 times 1 is 9. So I get 16/9, which then if you want to change it as a mixed number would be 1, which puts me at 9. I do 7 more to get to 16/9. So either of these answers is correct. Okay, that's all I have for multiplying and dividing of fractions. Good luck.